Every time I drive at night I can't believe those xenon-hid headlights are legal. What other things are legal that you think shouldn't be? So a little of a personal story here. I happen to have a very common Hispanic name. Also I served in the Marines who on 2 different occasions lost personal information of mine to include my social security number. The state of Florida was able to pull $25,000 out of my personal bank account with only my very common last name and social. It was for someone trying to collect way past due child support. Neither Florida Child Support Collections or Bank of America bothered to check the first or middle name on the account, much less the birthday, residence, or any other personal information. This all happened without any notification. All of a sudden I had nothing in my account, and it was up to me to figure out how to live for the next 3 months while Boa and Florida unfucked my crap. I realize it's hard to pin down some of these worthless child support dodging buttholes, but that does not mean that you can just remove funds from an account without matching every detail. Fortunately I have friends and family who helped me get a lawyer and float me some money until all of this was figured out. However, without them, I would have been up crap creek without a paddle. Sorry for the long story. The download fee when buying tickets to an event online. I have to pay $5 to print out my own ticket at home. Also, convenience fees when choosing to pay for something over the phone. I mentioned this on the forum for a large DC venue once. Their convenience fee for 2 tickets was as much as another ticket. The owner responded on the forum, "If you don't like it, don't go here. I don't give a crap. I'll sell that ticket anyway. I won't go to that venue anymore." Not sure what kind of regulation goes into this, but as a college student all I can say is frick textbooks. Seriously, a new edition virtually every year so you can't sell the used textbook, and then there's the ridiculous prices. No, I will not pay $150 for a chemistry textbook that I will hardly use. I've almost stopped buying textbooks at this point. The absolute worst are the ones that require you to buy the book for the code that is included with it to do class walk. This past semester my calc class was like that. $110 for the book. If you wanted to buy the code and not have the book, $122.50. Making it difficult to cancel a build service. Worst examples being gyms and Xbox Live. They sell you a service that you pay for month to month or year to year, and make it dang near impossible to cancel, so you will be forced to pay for a service that you aren't using. If a customer says, "I am no longer using your service, please cancel it," then it had better happen promptly with no problems. I just changed my location to Ill and cancel online thanks to Ill lawn services that bill online. Ticket brokers. They get priority access to blocks of tickets, then buy up a boatload of seats only to sell them to the public at jacked up prices. Frick them. Seriously, I'm not going to go pay $300 to see a Maple Leafs regular season game, if there was a season. Drug rehabs that charge $2,000 to $10,000 per week, especially the ones that don't take insurance. It isn't the addicts paying, it's the families, lured by false promises of curing their loved ones. Agreed. I've been to rehab twice. The first time was okay, but only recently realizing I was an addict and having people make fun of me for my drug of choice, cough syrup. It didn't really help that much. The second time was interrupted once after I was rushed to a hospital for suicidal thoughts, and then I left early after making an attempt. Now, I'm close to 2 months clean, not going to NA, and have very few cravings. For me, and I can't stress enough how this is personal and may not be the case for everyone, I needed to find a way to express myself and something that I loved. I started writing. I've relapsed since I've started, but getting better and accepting that I'm not a great writer has made the biggest difference. For me, finding hobbies is a great therapy. Immediately publishing names and pictures of people arrested for sex crimes. My first thought when I see these news stories is I hope they're not wrong and have ruined this person for no reason. The main problem is that they were arrested for it, not convicted. So even if they are completely innocent and found by a court of law to be not guilty, their life is ruined. Being arrested for something is not the same as being found guilty of said thing, but in most people's eyes it is. Convenience fee charges. I shouldn't have to pay extra for the fact that you did absolutely nothing to make my transaction happen just because I paid over a smartphone. tablet or computer with an online application. Regional monopolies for service providers. Monsanto's copyrighting or patenting genetically engineered plants and then suing small time when their crops accidentally cross-pollinate through natural processes like the wind. Farmer can't afford lawsuit, must shut down. Gets land bought out by Monsanto. This is freaking crap. In North Carolina, there is no state law against owning lions and tigers in your backyard, but you can't own a bobcat, native species to the state. I know that in my state at least non-factory hits are illegal, they just tend to be ignored by local law enforcement unless they need a reason to pull you over. Old people hopped up on God knows how many medications being allowed to drive with no tests needed ever again to check on vision or driving acuity after the age of 16. Exactly, after any event like stroke, possible brain damage, etc., or just reaching the age of 60, 70, etc. you should be required to be re-examined for driving. Nothing difficult, just to check up that you're road safe. Hospitals owning insurance companies. Really? How is that not a conflict of interest? They are billing the company they own. That in turn pays them. I live in Michigan. Spectrum Health, a hospital conglomerate, owns Priority Health, the medical insurance company. This is how medical insurance started. It used to be a monthly fee you could pay to the hospital so your service would be covered. Siren and honking noises on the radio. Radio stations should not be allowed to play any sound bites that sound like a car honking or like emergency sirens. And furthermore, that shouldn't be allowed in music that will be played on the radio either. I do not understand the need to max rev your Harley as you're leaving at 4 AM on a weekday. Why do all Harley owners leave places at late hours of the night? Is it needed to make that much noise when you're not really going anywhere fast? Harleys, converting gas into noise. Headlights when properly installed are not a problem. The issue is people putting head bulbs in reflective housings. Head bulbs need a projector housing. That's why expensive cars' headlights are not a problem, but that stupid Civic with heads is. Proper headlights give better road visibility and produce a better light that is easier on the eyes of the driver, and when directed properly by the projector housing will not shine into the person in front of them or oncoming traffic. I live in Michigan, and while it's completely legal for a herd of Harleys to go by making it impossible to hear my TV, if my exhaust is even a little loud on a car or other four-wheeled vehicle I can be ticketed. Animated electronic billboards. Any radio commercial that involves the sound of a siren, brakes locking up, or a car crash. Apartment brokers. I live in NYC and I found my apartment myself. I don't need to pay some butthole a month's rent when they didn't do anything. Freaking crap. I hate apartment brokers. In May of this year, my wife and I were looking for an apartment. I responded to an ad on Craigslist, and when I showed up for the tour it was a broker who answered the door. I had never dealt with a broker before, so I was unaware of the manipulative, lying, no accountability bulls they are known for. BTW, I live in Chicago. He begins by telling me that the apartment had been rented, but when the couple came back to sign the lease they witnessed the downstairs neighbor beating the crap out of his girlfriend. Understandably, they chose to forego moving into the apartment. The good news was that the landlord had gotten word of this and had given the tenant until the end of the month to move out, so there was no need to worry about having to deal with him if we chose to rent the unit. To top it off, the guy also had a dog that barked non-stop, and me being a student who studies from home most days, this would have been a deal breaker. I was assured he and his crazy dog would be long gone before we moved in. We really liked the place and signed the lease, handing over the first month's rent and deposit. At this point I have yet to speak to the owner of the property. Fast forward to the day before we are supposed to move in. I have not heard a word from either the broker or the owner on how I am supposed to get the keys, if I am supposed to move things and trough the back, etc. I finally get the landlord on the phone and he informs me that the shithead woman beater has yet to move, and the reason the current tenants are moving is due to an incident where the downstairs neighbor threatened the woman who is now moving out. Great. I tell him we were repeatedly reassured he would be out before we moved. The owner apologizes, Tells us he will tear up the deposit and the lease if we don't feel comfortable. We told him that's what we would like to do. Super easy, no hassle. Now all we have to do is get our first month's rent back from the broker. I give Jesse, the broker, a call. Explain we are not going to be taking the apartment and that we would like our $1,200 check back. This mother loses his crap. He tells me I signed a contract and that the money is non-refundable. What? I ask him what contract, to which he replies, the application I filled out when I looked at the apartment. It is now 6 months later. I have no idea how to pursue the matter and get my money back. I filed a claim with the Better Business Bureau, to which the brokerage had a lawyer respond with a crap ton of double talk. These brokers are freaking scum. They all have names like Jesse, Blake, Bentley, Dakota. No offense to people with those names. I just hate your parents and appear to be fresh out of college with no real world experience. I would honestly be okay with losing the money if I could kick Jesse in the face and dip my balls in his mouth and send out a picture of the events in his company's newsletter. I don't think that is too much to ask. TLDR, I was screwed out of $1,200 by a punk butt broker. This might get buried, but here goes. My headlight went out in my car last week. I asked about headlights for my car. The sales guy said sorry if he sounds condescending before he told me heads in lamp casings designed for headlamps are fine. It is the people who put headlamps in non-head designed casings that cause the brightness of the driver's face. They told me the reason they work well in the proper casings is because they are designed to reflect the headlight into a proper beam aiming at the road and not oncoming driver's eyes. He also told me headlamps in non-head casings are illegal. I thanked him for telling me all this and all I wanted was a bulb. Hope this helps. I found the same thing out, except I was doing my own research. I was gonna put head bulbs in my 97 Caravan. Then I found out that, to get proper visibility, you need projector housings. For a 1997 Caravan, those were $200 a piece. That's without the head bulbs and ballast. Anyways, I lived with dim, foggy headlights for another year before that car got sold. Too rich for my blood. But I also found out, not only do those lights blind oncoming traffic when installed improperly, they are not even illuminating what you need to see. Most of the light is wasted on the ground oncoming traffic because it isn't directed properly. You end up casting less light on the deer you're about to hit, or the reflective road signs in front of you. So not only are they dangerous and illegal when installed improperly, but headlights are actually worse than regular headlights when installed improperly. Go figure. You can legally own a flamethrower, so that's something. In South Africa there is a legal anti-carjacking device which basically sprays burning gasoline around the car. Those windows on enormous buildings that are mirrors, turning the entire building into an enormous sun reflector. Who thought that was okay? Overdraft fees. If I don't have the money to buy something, don't let me buy it. Don't be like the freaking mob and say, I'll do you this favor, but you owe me big time. Super PACs. For those that don't know, it's limitless funding for elections that allow you to remove the money and use it for personal use. Tow truck companies. How is that okay? Private companies seize your property based on a contestable claim, then hold it while extorting additional funds from you until you can get it back. I had to read the comments before I realized you were talking about proactive impound for profit, rather than calling the police and saying, hey, this prick is blocking my driveway. Not crap. My car broke down on the side of the road. Haul it to a garage. Yeah, proactive impound gets under my skin. I had to go back and forth with one for the better part of a year. I made arrangements with the landlord. I have permission to have it there. Here's the info. Next month. A pending tow sticker. Remember me? I made arrangements with the landlord. Leave my car the frick alone. Next month. New pending tow sticker. Hey jackass. I made arrangements with the landlord. Well, how were we supposed to know it was you? How about because the car has the same plates, the same VIN, is the same make, model, color, and is in the same spot. Repeat for 7 more months. Loud pipes on motorcycles. And before I get trolled, I ride bikes. You shouldn't be allowed to take your baffles out, etc. Goddamned public nuisance. Let's see. Detaining US citizens without due process, warrantless wiretapping and entering into citizens' homes, preventing people from doing with their bodies as they please, in the privacy of their home, and not causing harm to others. Members of Congress or the Senate should not be allowed to collect any money for anyone for any reason other than their annual salary. They have too much power to be allowed to receive kickbacks. In Michigan, if somebody breaks into your house and injures themselves, example, falling down a step and breaking their ankle, then they are allowed to sue you for the medical bill. Redditors would either make awesome or terrible elected officials. I can't decide which. Awesome because they would fit in well with the current political landscape of I don't like it so it should be illegal. Terrible because everyone else would be subject to the self-serving whims of a group who have decided they are better than everyone else. Terrible. The average Redditor falls hard to arguments that appeal to emotion. If Redditors were in charge, animal cruelty would be a capital offense. Israel would be annexed. Police would spend 90% of their time investigating each other and copyrights of any kind would cease to exist. Not sure if it's been mentioned, but college textbooks. As much as I pay in tuition to attend college, and the extra fees, textbooks should be included or at least a reasonable price. I also think that instead of coming out with an entirely new book, publishers should just provide supplemental material until they have enough of a change to need a new edition. Switching up the order of chapters should not mean a new edition. Book buyback is even worse. Buy a Psych Stats book for $179 and you get back $20 only for them to sell it for $150. This is why I try to find PDF versions free first. Frick textbooks. Airlines overselling flights. That crap is awful. If you prepay for a product that is operational on the day of service, your place should be secured by your full advance payment. I don't understand how they sell more tickets and seats. Red light cameras. They don't help with safety, as they cause just as many accidents as they are supposed to prevent. In my town, they have cut 2 seconds off the yellow light timers to try to catch people, and they lower the time anytime that revenue from tickets drops off in a certain area. You aren't allowed to contest them in court, and the video evidence is often inconclusive. Just a scam to increase ticket revenue. If you have one of those license plate covers that purposefully make it harder to read your plate, I am immediately cautious of you. A product designed to help you get away with things illegal shouldn't be considered a good idea. I had a palm leaf plate cover that concealed the expiration date on my license plate for near 10 months. The first few were accidental. After 3, I just wanted to see what I could get away with. The designated hitter rule. BCS rankings, lobbying, the filibuster, regional lockouts, DVD region codes, product licensing to consumers, attacks against the first sale doctrine, everlasting patents, the legalese language. Comment: I've gotten a lot of feedback on item 7, first sale doctrine, so let me be clear. I am very pro-consumer and in my hurry listed what I wish to protect as what I wish to ban. Comment: patents for products can be extended by slightly changing the product. For instance, pharmaceutical patents can be extended by ever so slightly changing the formula. It should be illegal to be a group of buttholes. For example, groups of people who invade and ruin a soldier's funeral just because they disagree with war. We need more scam protection in the US. I see people get ripped off all the time and the attitude towards it is, well, you're crap out of luck. I know there are more pressing things for police to be investigating, but in a perfect world it would be a punishable offense to scam someone. The problem is that scam is so subjective. The health, fitness, weight loss industry in the US is worth in excess of $50 billion annually, and a huge part of it is predatory scamming that plays on the emotions of people who think they can spend a few dollars and get a quick fix that will reverse a lifetime of undisciplined, indulgent behavior. Sorry, it doesn't work that way, and the purveyors of this garbage know very well that they are scamming their customers. How do you police that? Commercials that are louder than the shows I watch. Example: I set the volume to 5 while watching a show, commercial comes on and it sounds like it got cranked up to 25. If someone goes to jail for a sex crime and serve their time and do everything perfectly that's supposed to rehabilitate them, they still are branded a sex offender when they leave and must tell their neighbors. But if somebody attacks someone else to the point that the victim suffers permanent damage, once they leave jail they don't have the same restrictions a sex offender would. For-profit private prisons, redrawing voting districts, plea bargaining instead of getting a trial by jury. I know it's not a rule that you have to plea bargain, but a lot of prosecutors will do their best to destroy you if you don't. Trying to make laws that will obviously severely impede others' rights, I think that should be classified as treason. No regulation on cosmetics, soaps, makeup, toothpaste, etc. aren't checked by the FDA, and plenty of studies have found carcinogenics and other harmful chemicals in products which we slather all over our skin on a daily basis. They also don't even need to fully list ingredients. Check your products and almost every single one will say fragrance in the list, which means you have no idea what it is, all for the sake of protecting trade secrets. The camera companies that put the cameras on the traffic intersections and then send out tickets, supplying the city with a cut. Indefinite laws of any sort. All new laws should have a sunset clause that sets them to expire in 5 or 10 years, and at that point Congress would have to vote on the law again. There are so many laws that exist that would no way in heck be passed today, but are never going to get repealed by Congress because they don't give two shoots about them. It would certainly be nice if legislatures paid sufficient attention to ensuring that the laws that are on the books are still relevant, well designed, etc. But most laws don't need to be sunset, e.g., criminal laws like homicide or theft, and some are downright destructive when naturally sunsetting. Anything that regulates business, taxation, etc. For those laws, there is a high cost to uncertainty, as it makes decision making, long-term planning, and the like vastly more difficult. This applies to instances many Redditors might be interested in. Your decision about whether to take out student loans is contingent, among other things, on federal involvement in the rates, both directly and via decision making on quantitative easing, on their dischargeability in bankruptcy, on the enforcement regime for all the details. Similarly, your decision about whether to buy a house, on, say, a 30-year mortgage, requires that you believe the laws regulating that mortgage will stay the same during the life of the loan, whether the tax deductions for the interest will continue, etc. On a macro level, increasing uncertainty and depressing stability would act as a significant damper on anyone's interest in planning, investing, getting job training, or the like. A landlord keeping a tenant security deposit for no good reason. I know there are civil codes that say you can't do this, but there ought to be criminal codes saying you can't do this as well. A security deposit isn't a loan. You're not supposed to spend that money except for redress of damages caused by the tenant. All telemarketing. If you call me trying to sell something, frick you. If I want what you got, I'll call you. As someone who was forced into a position to take a telemarketing job, let me say this: we understand. Most of the people that make the calls are young people just trying to make money for school and deal with a tremendous amount of harassments from irate callers. Truly, management are the people who are fricked up as they tell us who to call and more specifically decide when we call. My shift at the call center was always between the hours of 4 and 9. Early enough to get you after work, late enough to get you eating dinner. Literally, all we have are headset that cold calls automatically for us and a screen that says your name. On top of that, the anger we receive from callers every caller. It's pretty awful what people will say to you and just how loud they will scream. Please think of us like the people offering flyers at the mall in a gorilla costume. Yeah, we're annoying, but we want to be there just as little as you want us there. However, when you receive a call from a telemarketer, there are two things you can do to make the process easy for the both of you. 1. Firmly but politely state that you do not want to buy anything. The telemarketer will be required to try and make another offer, and possibly even a third, by management again. Firmly but politely say no. Then 2. Clearly request that you wish to be placed on their do not call list. After that, hang up. The caller will be required to put you on a list with numbers that management can't legally use for another extended amount of time. After a year or so, that list expires though. I left that job as soon as I got another, trust me. Virtually nobody enjoys that job. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.